All right, today we're going to start by looking at how many of his 100-day promises Joe Biden has accomplished as president, either partially or fully. And I think it makes sense to say at the outset that we will evaluate whether he did the things he promised to do. The question of whether he promised to do the right things is a separate one. So, like, as an example, if Joe Biden promised to cancel $10,000 in student debt and did it, but you think he should have done 50,000, these are two different questions. Did he promise the right thing, and did he achieve the thing that he promised? But let's just jump right into it, starting with climate. The NPR and the AP have really good trackers on this, and I encourage you to check out. I'm looking at the Associated Press tracker, and it's very, very good. So on climate, 4 promises Joe Biden has kept. He has taken executive action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. He did rejoin the Paris Climate Accord. He supported an amendment to the Montreal Protocol to curb HFCs. And he has convened a World Climate Summit, which recently took place. He did those 4 things that he promised. He has not yet done infrastructure that will sort of be done in a way that takes into account the big picture climate picture. He just hasn't done infrastructure yet. He has not taken steps to conserve 30% of U.S. lands and waters by 2030, and he has not received emission reductions commitments from the shipping and aviation industry. On the economy, Joe Biden has accomplished 4 of his 5 promises. He has extended a pause on student loan payments. He did pandemic relief, $1.9 trillion. He did review the U.S. supply chain for vulnerabilities in key sectors. Those have been identified. He has taken steps to strengthen Buy American measures, and he has not yet increased the corporate tax rate. So 4 out of 5 on economy and taxes. Now, you might be saying, well, hold on, he made other promises economically. Yes, but they were not 100-day promises. We're looking at 100-day promises. On government functioning, he has done 3 of 4. He tightened ethics rules. He insulated the Justice Department from politics. He eased federal unionization restrictions. He did not restore rules that were weakened by Donald Trump. On gun control, he's really done nothing yet. He promised to send Congress a gun control bill. It's sort of partially been met, but it's not been completed. He promised to reauthorize the Violence Against Women Act. It's on its way, but it has not yet been done. Commissioning an attorney general report to restructure agencies to enforce gun laws. He's gotten Merrick Garland started on it, but it's not yet been done. And he also promised an FBI report on how to tighten gun purchase background check loopholes. Has not been done. Healthcare. He made 8 promises for his first 100 days, and he's done 5. He did do a mask mandate on federal property. He rejoined the World Health Organization. He set up 100 mass vaccination centers. He vaccinated 100 million Americans, actually 200 million, and he did deploy mobile vaccination clinics. He has not expanded healthcare access in a meaningful way yet. And he has not outlined new pandemic measures for future pandemics. That's been requested. It's sort of, you could say, in process. And he has not yet reopened most elementary and middle schools. On housing, he said he would pause evictions and foreclosures, and he did. And there were some other strategic things like coming up with a strategy to make housing a right. That's not yet been done. So he did do one thing on housing. Immigration's a tough one. There were a lot of immigration promises made. In fact, 17. Many have not been accomplished. The naturalization process hasn't been streamlined. Increases to the amount of refugees have not taken place. But he did send Congress an immigration bill, which he promised to do. He did revise deportation criteria, although many people would say, yeah, they were revised, but it's not nearly enough. He did take steps to reunite separated migrant families. He did end the travel ban. He did stop deportations for certain groups. And with a lot of these, with the immigration stuff, the devil's really in the details, where the promise is very open-ended. So you and I would look at what's going on with deportations and we would say, there's still a ton of them going on. The promise was to stop deportations for certain groups, and he did sign a memo on that, but I don't feel it's nearly enough. He stopped border wall construction, reversed the public charge rule for immigrants, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff that is sort of arguably in progress. He's asked for it, hasn't really happened. He promised to freeze deportations for 100 days. Remember, he did it, but then it was blocked by a judge. On inequality, basically nothing has yet been done. He made 12 promises. The only one that's been accomplished is creating a working group, a union issues working group, to deliver a plan on increasing union membership. That's been done. All the other stuff hasn't. Addressing systemic racism in U.S. institutions, signing the Equality Act, appointing a commission to study sexual assault in the military. These are things that Joe Biden has said he wants done while being president. So they're marked as in process. They have not yet been done. And then on national security, Joe Biden promised to rejoin the Iran nuclear deal. He has started that process. It has not happened. So how do you grade his promises? The thing that's tough about this is a lot of these promises we all knew were never going to happen, much like with Trump, we knew where Trump was never going to build a wall across the entire border and get Mexico to pay for it in his first 4 years. This was never going to happen. And he failed. And so it was a promise he failed to deliver on. Trump was never going to pay off the national debt in 4 years. And of course, he blew it up, actually. Joe Biden's promises were more reasonable, but some were still clearly not going to happen. So if we just grade him on a percentage basis, it's like a C. If we grade him based on his intentions via things he signed orders on, but obviously take longer than 100 days, and we account for all of the realities, it's probably like a B plus. But with all of these things, the questions really are, how do we interpret his intention to do something versus the practicality when you understand that there are other players involved? You're going to have to tell me how to evaluate that. And ultimately, voters are going to decide. Some great things done. And compared to many other presidents, this has been one of the most productive first 100 days. Compared to all the things he promised, if you don't do a curve of any kind that accounts for practical difficulties, it's like he's done kind of, half the stuff or something like that. So let me know your thoughts on how we should be evaluating it. One of our sponsors is privacy.com. They're giving you $5 when you sign up for their completely free service at privacy.com/Pakman. I've been using Privacy for a little over a year now. You've heard me talk about it before. It's a lifesaver, and here's how it works. It takes just a couple of minutes to set up. Anytime you buy something online or on the phone, instead of actually using your real credit card number, the Privacy app and the browser plugin let you give each company a randomized virtual credit card number that you create out of thin air. It'll even autofill the card number with one click. And the payment is taken out of your checking account without the merchant ever knowing your real information. So this allows you to keep your banking information secure, but also to take control of your finances. You can create up to 12 of these virtual credit cards a month. You can set spending limits. You can freeze them. You can delete them anytime you want. So when you do this, it means you're not going to be charged when you don't want to be, because you can destroy the virtual card number right after using it, which, for instance, I love using free trials because I know I won't be charged when the trial is over if I use a virtual credit card number. You're keeping your identity private by not telling companies who you are. You're keeping your bank or credit card info protected against data breaches and identity theft, and it's free. And like I said, you'll get $5 to spend when you sign up at privacy.com/Pakman.